I'm really happy that I get to introduce someone to you. She is a part of our core council, and what that basically is, to put it in a term that most people understand, is she's part of our board of directors. So I want to introduce to you Georgeann Moss. She's been a member of our core council for 3 years. She even decided to step in for an extra year after her term was up, so we're very grateful for that. She's been a collaborative environment activist. Listen to that, I love that. A collaborative environmental activist for more than 30 years. And she's a proud recipient of DFW Green Source's Sustainability Lifetime Achievement Award. Did y'all know we had that in our community? She and her husband, King Moss, they live in an energy efficient house. She's walking the talk, y'all. They drive hybrids, they purchase renewable energy electricity, and they do as much as they can to reduce their carbon footprint as they walk on this planet Earth. She has a deep passion for inspiring and encourage others to do the same, to practice sustainability in their own lives. And she's joining me on the platform today, so she's leading it off today to share that passion and to share with you a new initiative that CSLDallas is launching this year. And what I can say is I definitely encourage you to join her book discussion that starts on May 2nd. I'm proud to share the platform with Georgeann Moss today. Let's give her some love.
Thank you so much. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce the new Force for Good series. Force for Good. I know you've heard that term before. These programs that we're going to be putting together fulfill one of CSLDallas's top 4 key priorities, thank you, for 2022. And so we are creating sustainable programs for community-wide engagement. We want to get everybody involved. We're developing strategic partnerships in the community, and we're launching new programs that will make a difference. And so our intention is to become a force for good in this community and in the world. And so we have identified 3 urgent topics that we're going to address. The first is climate change and sustainability. The second is our democracy. And the third is healing racism. So I know, it's really exciting. And so, of course, as Karen already mentioned, my passion is sustainability, and so that's what I'm here to talk about today, because that's one of the initiatives that I'm going to be leading. So, as she said, I've been a committed environmental activist for more than 30 years, and I've worked on this issue in my job since 2007. And so the work and the messaging have changed over the past 30 years. When we first started, we thought that just explaining the science to people would get them excited and motivated and doing something. It did not, because it turns out that doom and gloom are not motivating, right? So, in fact, really, it turns out that some people get overloaded and paralyzed when they're overwhelmed with the gloom and doom, and then other people choose to just deny it. So we're having to learn how to communicate in a new way. Things got even more complicated when the topic of the climate crisis became politicized, right? So it's very difficult now to talk to people and have constructive conversations about climate change because it is politicized. So that's why we are really doing a lot of work now around trying to learn how to communicate more effectively with each other while we try to understand and respect each other's values and work toward solutions that work for all of us. So again, as Karen mentioned, that's one of the big things that we'll be talking about in the book discussion. You got a little handout about that. Dr. Catherine Hayhoe has written the book, Saving Us, and it is really good. I've read it. So what is sustainability? My husband King always says, Georgeann, you can't assume that everyone knows what sustainability is. So I always go through this little definition of sustainability so that those of you who maybe haven't heard about sustainability before will get a better understanding. So the Brundtland Commission of the United Nations in 1987 came up with the definition, meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own. Right? And so as all of us who are parents and grandparents, that really resonates with us. But it's also kind of, big and nebulous. And so what I say, it's making sure that we leave this earth as good or better than we found it for our children and our children's children. And so other names for sustainability that business uses, sustainability is a term that's used a lot in higher education, but in business, the terms that they use are corporate social responsibility, or CSR. They use the term environmental and social governance, ESG, and the triple bottom line. So, did you know that globally, 100 companies are responsible for 71% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions in the past 30 years? 100 companies, 71% of greenhouse gases. And again, for those of you who don't know, greenhouse gases are the things that are causing the bad stuff that's causing the climate to change. And we've got to stop that. But that was the bad news. The good news is that there are 1,000 companies worth $23 trillion. 1,000 companies that are worth $23 trillion that have set goals to limit their emissions. And more are signing on for this every day. Businesses stepping up and taking the lead. And they're doing that because they're being encouraged by their employees, by their customers, by their investors. A lot of big investment companies now are insisting that the companies that they give money to have climate action plans. So that's the good news. They're doing it because people are asking them to do it and they're being responsible, but really they're doing it because it's good for business, right? It's good for their bottom line. Because when you eliminate unnecessary waste and when you become radically energy efficient, both of those things save you money. So that's good, right? And both of those things, by the way, also reduce emissions. So it's a win-win-win for businesses. We are in the midst of a sustainability revolution that cannot and will not be stopped, right? We are on our way. We are on our way to achieving it. And people are designing new and better ways to accomplish our goals, and they're finding sustainable solutions. So other ways to say triple bottom line are equity, environment, and economy. Those are the 3 E's, or the 3 P's are people, planet, and our prosperity. So business now understands, and lots of other people are beginning to understand, that sustainability is the intersection of all 3 of those things, right? Because everything that we do affects all 3 of those areas. They're interrelated, and you have to address all 3 of those areas if you're going to have a sustainable solution. And so please notice that I'm intentionally saying prosperity as opposed to profits. Profits are good, but they are a subset of prosperity. Especially here at CSLDallas, we know that prosperity can take many forms, right, in addition to profits. And so we're intentional about saying that. So sustainable products and services, they protect people, they protect the planet, they protect our prosperity, and more companies are choosing to create these and put them into the marketplace. And we can choose to support companies that are doing that. And so you got this handout also. It's before, we've been talking about painting a new picture for the past several months now. Before we can paint a new picture, we have to know what it is we want, right? And so fortunately, the United Nations has developed these 17 Sustainable Development Goals. You have that handout as well. Everything on this list, if you look at it, you go, oh, yeah, no poverty, I want that. Oh, yeah, right, I want quality education. Oh, yeah, zero hunger. All of these things are like motherhood and apple pie. We really want to accomplish them, and now we know what our vision is. It's a blueprint for how to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all people by the year 2030. They help us focus our energy and attention on what we want as opposed to what we don't want. So, sustainability is possible. I hope you can see these web addresses up here. If you can't, just email me after and I will send them to you. But sustainability is possible. And the reason that I know is because the first website on that list, drawdown.org, is it is a nonprofit group that has pulled together some of the most brilliant scientists in the world, and they have identified the top 80 things that are available to us right now, that if we do all of those 80 things, we will not only stop climate change, but we will draw down excess emissions from the atmosphere. It's really, really exciting. And so drawdown is the point in the future where the level of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, they stop climbing and they start to steadily decline. And it'll stop climate change, and it'll do it quickly and safely and as equitably as possible. So the list that you have there, 15 top things, sustainable things you can do, those are things that individuals can do. Those are from the drawdown list of about 80. Most of the things on drawdown's list have to be done by companies or countries or governments. You know, they're big ideas, and that's good. We need that. But we also need to know what we can do individually, and those 15 things on your handout will give you that information. So again, these are a few of my favorite sustainable solutions websites, but there are literally hundreds out there. There's so much work being done right now, and so people don't need to be frightened. We can do this. We can address this challenge, and we can come out with a better world when we do. So what can you do? What can we do as members of CSL Dallas? Got 5 big buckets of things here. First one is use your circle of influence to affect change where you can. So you have 3 main circles of influence. You have your own personal life, you have your professional life, and you have your community life. And so what I have learned is that I started out working primarily in my personal life, and then the more I did, then I became more confident, and I started bringing suggestions forward in my jobs over the past 30 years, and I've made more progress there. And so now my circle of influence has expanded so that I am actually having influence in the community. And so I'm here to tell you, it works if you just keep using your circle of influence and expanding it, and your reach will expand also. The second thing is you can be an activist. So an activist basically is someone who campaigns for social change. Sometimes the word activist has a negative connotation, but it doesn't have to be. Activism can be done in a very loving and kind way, and that is the way we practice it here. But nevertheless, it's standing strong for what you want and asking for what you want. And an activist can be someone who writes letters to their elected officials at the state and local and national levels. It can be someone who writes a letter to a CEO of a company and either says, I really think you need to do a better job of reducing your greenhouse gas emissions. Or it can say, I think you're doing a great job and thank you, and I'm going to buy more from you, and I'm going to tell my friends to buy from you because you are. So be an activist. Third thing is create and or support better alternatives. And so the way I tell people to do that, because there's so many things out there to do, right? What can I do? And I encourage them to really take a close look at the 17 SDGs, really look at each one of them, find out a little bit more about them, and find the one that you're really passionate about, because there is something for everyone on that list. The one I've chosen is climate action. That's the one that really lights me up. It's motivated me for 30 years, but there's going to be something on that list that really lights you up, and choose that one and become an advocate, become a supporter, and really start working on that issue. Because guess what? If everybody works on just one, we're going to achieve a world that works for everyone a whole lot faster than we are right now. Fourth one, Karen already mentioned, you got to walk the talk. And there's a lot of reasons to do that. The two that come to mind most quickly is if you're walking the talk, you're being part of the solution, right? But it's very important that we model for other people what it is we want to see in the world, especially our children. If our children see us doing these things, they're going to continue to do that, and they're going to take it out into the world as well. The other reason to do it is because it's empowering, because there's a lot of negative news out there about climate change, right? It's kind of scary. So we have to do what we can do so that we feel good about it and we feel empowered and we continue to do the work. And then, of course, finally, And it seems crazy that this might be the most important thing that you could do to resolve climate change, but talk about it. I would like to see, raise your hand if you actively talk to people, when you're out and about, do you talk to your friends about climate change? Raise your hands if you talk. Wonderful, wonderful. That is really good. I'd say 5, 6 people raise their hand. What we want is we want everyone to do that, because what we know is in the United States, 7 out of 10 people say that they are concerned about climate change, but only 50% of them say they know what to do about it. Only 50%. So 70% of people want to do something, but 50% doesn't even know what they can do. So if we start these conversations and we help those people who are paralyzed by fear, or the ones who are overwhelmed and just say, okay, well, I don't believe this anyway, if we talk about it and we explain that there are all the solutions that we need out there already, all we have to do is implement them, then more people will be motivated to act. So, as Karen said, our book discussion, Saving Us, A Climate Scientist's Case for Hope and Healing in a Divided World. Isn't that a great topic? Does that not just hook you in and make you want to read it and learn what to do? Kia Tillman and I, Kia, who is also on the core, she's back there at the back, she's on the core council. She's going to be working with me on this issue, and in fact, we are going to be starting a sustainability circle, and we would love to have anybody who is interested in this work and wants to continue it. We would love to have you join us, and you can talk to either one of us about it. But the bottom line is this: the climate crisis is real, it's happening now, it's caused by human activity. We have all the tools and technology we need right now to solve it, and that we can and will, as a center, as a community, use our spiritual principles to be the change that we wish to see in the world. So I always like to leave people with my favorite quote, which is by Margaret Mead, an anthropologist, who says, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing it ever has." So thank you, and I hope to see you in the book discussion and in this sustainability circle.
This song, I'm not on? Okay, this song is called Child of This Universe by Faith Rivera. Mother Nature is so generous, right? I am a child of this universe. The ocean dances at my feet. The wind plays a melody through my hair. I am loved at every turn. I am kissed by Mother Earth. I am a child of this universe. The sun warms me in its embrace. The stars are aligned for me in the sky. I am honored by all life. I am held by Father Time. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on a tree, every mountain top sings of the glory of love moving through me. I am a child of this universe. kiss to Mother Earth. I am a child of this universe. I greet the God in each face. I am a channel for peace to flow. Oh, I honor all of life. I am one with Father Time. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on a tree, every mountain top, I sing of the glory of love moving through all, moving through you, moving through me.
Love that song. I suggest you find that song, Child of the Universe by Faith Rivera. I love, love, love that song. And the words are so profound because I am a child of the universe. You are the child of the universe. Not in the parent and child relationship. It's primarily like we are not all of the universe, but the entire universe is within each of us. And the entire universe, that's stardust. Everything within the cosmos is within each of us, and it's within every blade of grass. It's within every animal that we've ever seen and encountered. It's within every leaf on every tree. Everything is alive. And we are the caretakers of this earth. We're the ones that choose to care for it. We're the ones who choose to be aware of it. We're the ones to keep our home clean, right? Have you ever lived in a messy house? You don't want to admit it, do you? I see you online. You're admitting it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can pick up in a minute. Don't get up and pick your stuff up. But what is the home like when it's messy? It's like, yeah, someone's doing this. It's chaotic, right? What's the energy of that? It causes stress. It causes, unless you just really love messiness, and that's okay if you do, but it causes the stress, the tension, the anxiety. And so as we care for our earth, man, all of life flourishes. And let's just face it, we've not been the best caretakers over the past generations, have we? Not the best. We could improve our job skills. So because of this, our world is going through this enormous sacred disruption right now, right? Our annual theme, sacred disruption, reimagine everything. And the good news is this is an opportunity to engage jointly in spiritual practices that we know will make a difference. And as our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, states, he talks about how when we do this, it produces a soul force to penetrate the whole world. All of Mother Earth, right? So this is a time where we get to, each one of us in our own way, whatever it is, dedicate our time in spiritual conviction. And it takes conviction to raising the awareness that our earth is sacred, that she is sacred. Earth Day we're celebrating, which was celebrated on Friday, is the largest secular observance in the world, and it grew out of the first Earth Day that was in 1970. So it's not been celebrated that long. And the intention of Earth Day is to empower individuals with information and tools and messaging that can make an impact for beneficial change. And that's what Georgeann just did. And I'm so grateful that we have someone like Georgeann Moss in our leadership and other people that really care about this topic, the sustainability and the health of our planet. And so since then, what's happened is as our awareness of our planet grows, and now we have all kinds of stuff we can watch and documentaries and all this good stuff, right? BBC, Planet Earth, all those series, as our awareness, what happens is also the frustration of our global citizens continues to raise. I don't know about you, but are you frustrated about this? Yeah, well, good. We got a couple of people frustrated, and that's not a bad thing, right? And so we want to have the confidence that life and our planet is respected and honored. So CSLDallas' mission is to provide spiritual tools for this personal and global transformation. And we are part of the larger Centers for Spiritual Living, and we here locally are looking to partner in this growing social movement of climate health and to partner with people and to do things. We are a green campus. We wash dishes here. We have 3 dishwashers, right? So, and just look at, if we talk about sacred disruption, look at what the sheltering in place for the past 2.5 years, I mean, really sheltering in place, right, has done beneficially for our planet. Thank goodness. I mean, in a way, thank goodness, right? There's been a lot of benefit that's taken place. So we have this opportunity to place our consciousness, our actions, our thoughts, our movements in the direction of ensuring that this innovation that is already here, we have everything that we could ever need. And through the pandemic, we've actually learned that we can learn to adapt quickly and change, didn't we? We had to learn to adapt quickly and change. We had to learn and adapt quickly here to go online. You know, companies had to learn to adapt quickly to enable people to work from home, right? Parents, did y'all have to adapt quickly to that when your kids didn't go physically to school? You know, it's like, but we've learned how to do that. And we can do this here. And so, as environmental issues may seem overwhelming at times, we can still turn our attention to small but significant acts that have impact. And we can reignite our flame of hope in this area, right? And hold this vision of us living in harmony with nature and respect for our planet. It's my own personal spiritual practice, next to spiritual mind treatment, now being in nature and being fully present and feeling the oneness of life and seeing the blade of grass and seeing the shaking leaves on the trees and seeing the eyes of animals and how they actually move in the world and help one another in all areas. If I don't do that, I'm not grounded in my life. It's my greatest spiritual practice now. And it connects us. So that's for me. I am aware of Mother Earth and nature a lot now. Look at what's happened in the past 2.5 years. And who knew before this happened that all the ways could change in an instant, in unimaginable ways, leading us to new ideas, new paradigms about work, new paradigms about home, about technology, about connection. In many ways, new paradigms on how we can care for one another. So as Georgeann said, we can stop focusing on the doom and gloom and have an optimistic views, that we actually are spiritual beings. We are part of, this big co-creation of life itself. We're a powerful force. We have universal wisdom. We have infinite intelligence. We have divine right action taking place. Even if we don't know it, if it doesn't look so divine, it is. We declare that good must come of this, that there is divine right action taking place. And we can put all that wisdom and that infinite intelligence to work. And as we do what Ernest Holmes says very clearly, he says, for if the whole nation works together and prays together, a great and moral and spiritual power, it's an actual soul force, will penetrate the whole world. Whole nation. He didn't say plural. He said one. It would penetrate the whole world, helping to bring confidence and calm judgment and right action until the crisis shall have passed. Each one of us are in the greatest place of power in this nation. Each one of us. We have the power of our dollars. We do. Profits, right, is a big thing here. Do you know that companies, investors in Exxon right now are demanding that if you don't start diversifying and pulling out of this oil stuff, we're pulling all our money. Do you know what stock would happen if they did that? We have this power. I want to empower us because we have the greatest power there is. We have it in where we spend our dollars. Yes, it might take a few more pennies to spend with a certain company than others. But collectively, if we do that, those companies must shift. We have the power in how we talk to our politicians, right? Like Georgeann said, vote. Is there any environmental stuff going on in this candidate's campaign? All right? To get out and make a ruckus. Some good trouble for planet Earth. And we got to do this now because it is feeling like it's getting faster and faster and faster and faster, right? So I invite you to imagine, and the greatest thing we can do and keep doing, keep this fresh before our moments of high resolve. I invite us to imagine a world that is whole, a world that is healthy, a world that is thriving. And we join the collective consciousness and embrace this ideal. And it doesn't matter whether or not we know how to attain it or not. It just doesn't matter, right? Perhaps we didn't know what was possible before this sacred disruption. And maybe we don't know how our vision will materialize. But right now, regardless of what's going on in the world, and regardless of where the news attention is, and all of that, in the Ukraine and other places, there are new and innovative ways that we can be together on this planet. And that's taking place daily. And share your vision. Georgeann invited you to talk about this topic with everyone you know. Also, share your vision of a healthy, loving world with your family and friends. They may look at you like you got three eyes, but share your vision with them. I hold the vision of a beautiful planet that has sustainability, where our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren and, 7 generations, right, get to thrive until the next generation picks up the next 7 generations. To know with me and Georgeann and Peter that we're actually creating this world that works for everyone. So I invite you to get online in this book study. Read a book that's going to give you hope. Read a book that's going to inspire you about Mother Earth and our climate change, right? Because Mother Earth has had our back the whole time. She's given us everything. Everything we could ever imagine. She provides everything we need to live an abundant life. It's now time for us to have her back. We can have each other's backs. To love her up in whatever way we can. You know, every time I go out, I take an empty trash bag with me. The least I can do is make that place look better. Every time I go to Cottonwood Park, I take my bag of wild bird seed, okay? And every time I go out and I see people feeding bread to those ducks, I talk to them nicely. Do you know that feeding them people food's the worst thing you can do? It can kill them. I didn't know. Do you know? Here, I invite their children to throw the bird seed with me. And they go, wow, yeah, this is what you want. Because you don't want to eat bird seed yourself, do you? No. Every little thing we do makes a difference. We have the resources that are already sustainable. And so our awareness is that we can make Earth Day every single day. Every single day we can do this. I'll share this last little bit that Ernest Holmes, when addressing another world crisis in a previous century, said that there seems to be two attitudes we can assume: calmness, faith and conviction, or despair. When we dedicate our time, our service, our hope, our spiritual conviction to a harmonious, let's start using that word, a harmonious resolution to our climate change crisis, it no longer will be a crisis. Like Georgeann said, for somehow it got political. Probably in 1970-ish. An inconvenient truth. We can take the actions and do spiritual practices that inspire us. And do our spiritual practices and then align our homes with sustainable living. We have bamboo toilet paper, y'all. So is someone else. Right? Because bamboo grows much faster than trees. Think about that. No matter how the small action may be, we can do it. So, what I'd love to do right now is we're going to start collectively with an affirmative prayer. We're going to do an affirmative prayer for our humanity, for our leaders, for our corporations. That just boggles my mind that there are 100 companies that represent 70%. Let's find out who those 100 companies are. How could we impact, because we have the power with our dollars, these 100 companies to say, great job, or you better do better. So I'm going to ask Brad to start some piano music. I want you to bring that song back in that Lainey sang. I am a child of the universe. Every blade of grass, every shaking leaf on a tree. In fact, you could play that melody. That would be really good. Thank you. That's awesome. Keep going. I want you to go in your mind's eye to somewhere on this Mother Earth that you've been. That's going to swell up your soul. Wherever it is. Maybe it's your own backyard. Some trip you took as a child. Some waterfall, some hike, where it felt like you were one with Mother Earth. This mother gives us everything we could need. Bring the love of this givingness of Mother Earth into your heart, into your mind. And join me in this. Wherever you are, whatever time you hear this. Stand on that mountaintop. For there is one life. There is one love. There is one body. This earth is one cell of the body of the cosmos, of life itself expressing, and yet on this one cell, within this one cell, are billions and billions of cells being active, running around, having an individualized expression of life consciously. And within these billions and billions of cells within the one cell of Mother Earth, which is the one cell in the whole universe, there are other blades of grass and leaves on the trees and animals and all kinds of sentient beings. This is the truth of life showing up. And we cannot pull ourselves away from this one body, this one cell. For it's all connected. It's the very breath of life expressing. And as I know that this life is abundant, I know that this life is whole, I know that this life is infinite wisdom and the divine intelligence and divine right action that takes place, I know that I am that I am. I am the cell, one of 7 billion within the one cell of the body of Mother Earth, within the cell of the body of the cosmos, right here and right now. And this entire cosmos is within me. I am that I am. I am the power of life to express. And as I know this is the truth of my life, I know this to be the truth of your life. And every single breathing, conscious, awake person on this planet right here and right now. And so I speak the word for Mother Earth, for the care, for the tending, for the nurturing, for the gratitude, for the blessing of all that she provides. I speak the word and declare and claim that we have our Mother first and foremost in our minds, in our thoughts, in our words, and in our actions. I know that there are leaders right now that have the ability to change their decisions that will serve not only this earth, but serves all of life. That our rivers, our streams, our waters are clean. That our soil in which all the plants come from are rid of things that are toxic. I know that we figure out how to move about the cabin of this earth without bringing more into our atmosphere and our air. I know that leaders are voted in. I know that corporations place people, planet, prosperity first. And that we cohabitate, we collaborate, we are harmonious. We are no longer divided in this topic. We sustain the movement of the sustainability of this planet for the sake of our lives, for the sake of our children's lives, for our uncles, aunts, brothers, people we don't know lives, and the lives that are yet to come. For today is Earth Day, and she matters. And so I release these words into the universal law, knowing that they must be made manifest. Thank you to this earth for all that is given and received. And so it is.